Well, President Biden's border crisis continues to spiral out of control. Before the break, we were talking a little bit about that, but now even the White House press corps appears to be turning on the administration, grilling Jen Psaki earlier. Watch this.
Why would DHS go ahead with a plan against the special envoy's advice?
Jen, we haven't yet heard recently from President Biden specifically about these images on the border. You have described him as saying that they're horrible, but what does he believe of the comparisons being made between his administration and the Trump administration?
I think the administration had expected that refugees were going to show up somewhere in these weeks.
These are images that are traumatizing Haitian Americans that he promised to treat respectfully and with humanity. Why isn't the president telling people himself these images that people say look like slavery are wrong?
So, Stacy, similar to some thoughts that you were sharing with us before the break.
Okay, so first of all, can I just, since we're friends, I've met Todd. I have not yet met the two of you, but I feel like we know each other. It's been such a long time sitting here chatting. Can I just say that I am so tired of being used over and over again, this imagery of slavery. There were men on horseback because the terrain does not permit them to ride around in cars or, you know, vehicles that go on like heavy terrain. They don't work on that rocky terrain at the Rio del Grande. So they were using their horses, and when you drive a horse, you use reins. You don't use steering wheels on horses. You have to use these little leathery bits, and you control the horse with them. There were no whips involved. No one was whipped. The individual who's been photographed and become viral, he actually attacked the horse. And so the guy on the horse, the Border Patrol officer, was maintaining control of the horse and gaining control of this individual who was refusing to obey his direct commands. That's it. There's no slavery imagery. This has nothing to do with slavery. And I really just want to ask Democrats to stop talking about slavery. These are people who are economic migrants. They're not slaves, and they should all be deported for their own safety, because living under a bridge without enough sanitation and food and water and things to keep them healthy is actually unhealthy for them. It's unsafe for them, and it breaks our law. These people are actually being treated inhumanely, and they're attracted to the United States border because of failed Biden administration policy, trying to be the opposite of President Trump, which, by the way, I don't know why anybody would want to be the opposite of a winner, but I guess that's President Biden.
Yeah, and Todd, your thoughts on this? I mean, there's so much to pick from that, frankly, that's going wrong. Picking on Jen Psaki, yeah, she has to defend something that looks really bad because notwithstanding, those guys on the horses were doing what they've been trained to do. The whole situation there shouldn't exist to begin with.
Well, that's true, and it's always good to hang out with my friend Stacy Washington, by the way. Hello there, and my fellow person in the box. Yeah, look, these Democrats in the mainstream media would not know the front end of the horse from the backside. I mean, let's get real here, guys. But the reality is that it didn't matter. Okay, they set their own narrative. It didn't matter that those were reins and the guy attacked the horse. That was not their truth. Remember, we live in a society now where truth is irrelevant. Everybody has their own truth, which is how they use that to justify sharing lies and spreading lies to the American people. And again, I appreciate Stacy saying what she did about the slavery issue, because when you look at some of the refugees, not all, but a good many, these are some of the most well-dressed refugees in all of history. I mean, coming across the border wearing designer clothing, great shoes, they have smartphones. Something is not quite right here. Now, the media is not going to cover that part of the story, but that is an important part of the story, because I'd like to know exactly what are they running away from. But beyond that, we have got to stand up for our Border Patrol agents down there along the border. These men and women are not only subjecting themselves to great harm and danger, but many of them are also becoming infected with the China virus. And that's another story for another day, but that is a big part of what's happening down there.
Yeah, and you know, Stacy, you were correct in referencing economic migrants, because that is important. We were talking earlier about many of these Haitian refugees leaving their passports and their IDs, destroying them and leaving them in Mexico so they couldn't be traced, so that they would then know that these refugees have actually been living safely for long periods of time in other countries as they attempted to make their trek here and seek amnesty. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki also talking about President Biden not answering questions about that or really anything else. Listen.
I'm not trying to diminish or ask for a formal press conference, which certainly I'm sure we will have another one. But I will convey to you that as it relates to providing information to the public, elevating the importance of the freedom of press to our democracy, that I don't know that the format, whether it is multiple shorter Q&As or a longer formal press conference, is at the top of the list of the American public's concern.
So how long will they get away with that, with the president not taking questions, Stacy?
So I got to tell you, so there's a little bit of deliciousness to this, them not getting to ask questions directly of the president when President Trump, who was so mean and evil and also Putin's puppet, would stand there for an hour and 15 minutes and take their questions. Sometimes his people would literally say, sir, we need you to get on Marine One because we got to go. And he'd still be talking and taking their questions. He would answer their questions, insult them, and then dare them to ask him something else. So Jen Psaki has cookies for them, and that's what they're going to get. They're not getting questions, they're getting cookies, and that's what they asked for. That's what they voted for. That's what they lied to us for, and they better lay down in the bed they made and enjoy it. That's what I think. I don't think they're going to get what they want because this is what they wanted. They've already got what they wanted.
All right. Well, they're trying to get another $3.5 trillion on top of $1.2 trillion also. There's a lot on their list, Stacy. They're still going after. But down at the border, you're right. That looks like that's what they wanted. Stacy Washington, Todd Starnes, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Also, folks, learning about a breaking story in Tennessee outside Memphis. Reports of an active shooter at a Kroger grocery store in Collierville. Police reporting multiple injuries. No word right now of any deaths. Schools in the area are currently on lockdown. No word of any arrests being made. We'll keep you up to date on that. Coming up, we're going to check in with Amanda Brill-Hanty and a look at social media. Stay with us.